Welcome to Unwinding with Support Group, a mental health podcast by licensed professionals where we discuss mental health topics from a real-world perspective, all while having a drink. So hang out, have some laughs, enjoy the ride, and maybe learn a bit. Welcome everybody to another episode of Unwinding with Support Group. Per usual, I am Arlene. I'm an LPC. And with me today I have Kelly, who's also an LPC.
Hello.
All right. Kelly, what you drinking today?
I have a tea mixed with some Empress 1908 Indigo Gin
Nice.
and water.
And water. Yeah. I clearly still got whatever going on in my throat, so my voice is, we're killing it over here. So I also have water, but I have a Captain Morgan apple with a Red Bull because, yep,
Good choice.
those are delicious. Any of the Captain Morgan flavors
Oh,
with
excuse me.
any of those Captain Morgan flavors with any of the Red Bull flavors are fucking just spot on.
Oh, that makes me think of Brie and her blueberry.
And her blueberry.
Red Bull, we're still talking to you.
Exactly. Still scouring the earth for blueberry. But all right. So today's topic, we're going to talk about what an emotional support animal is, or an ESA, versus a service animal. What are the differences? Why are both are valuable, but serve different purposes, and where that law falls as well. What is legally allowed for each one of those. So, let's start with an ESA. Generally, Kelly, what's an emotional support animal?
An emotional support animal can be any animal, which is an important distinction to make, which we'll get into, but it's an animal that provides you emotional support. You can't take it into public, but you can get a mental health provider to give you a letter saying that in places where there are no pets allowed for housing, you can have that animal with you. It provides you emotional support, essentially.
Yeah. Yep. Usually, emotional support animals tend to be cats or dogs,
Hmm.
but they can also be lizards.
Llamas.
They could be llamas. They could be little potbelly pig, those little teacup
Hmm.
pigs. Like I'm just saying emotional support animals can be whatever provides you emotional support. You are probably going to have a harder time saying a fish provides you emotional support, but
Yes.
it's not off the list.
No.
So just know that. But you're right. It provides some sort of therapeutic benefit, emotional support. It's in the name. Crazy how that works.
Mm.
Um, I think one of the biggest things is like ESAs are not trained for specific tasks,
No.
right? It's just a pet.
Yeah.
It is your pet. It provides you support. You can love it. You can um, snuggle with it. You can do all the things, and understand that part is there. I think the interesting thing about ESAs is in the mental health community, there's some weird taboo about them. Some providers, mental health support are like all for them. Other ones are totally against them. It's like a very polarizing topic, which is find is very weird.
I wasn't aware of that actually. I didn't realize that it was as polarizing as it is.
Well, um, when working predominantly with OCD, um, the company in which I worked for, their messaging was no emotional support animals.
Oh, I did not know that.
And the argument was that it provides a distraction I'm learning to tolerate your distress.
I would disagree.
Look, I think, like, in some cases, I'm sure, yeah, that's the case. I'm sure sometimes your dog giving you a lick in the face does chill you out and you're distracted and you're no longer tolerating. Sure,
Hmm.
I can, in some cases, but I don't know, like that. For me, it was just like, it's an animal, it's a pet, something that provides you support. That's literally what animals do, right? I mean, anybody who's had, let's consider this. You have dogs, Kelly.
Yes, I have three.
Do they not provide you some level of comfort just on a daily basis, whether we
Oh,
acknowledge them as an ESA or not?
100%.
So for me, there was no distinction other than I'm saying, as the mental health professional,
Hmm.
this animal specifically provides you emotional support. That's a pet.
Yes. And to be honest, to that end, that logic is faulty in a lot of ways because, if we're talking about support and, distress tolerance, then we could also argue that maybe we shouldn't have a support network because it could also pull us away from our distress. But the difference
Right.
is that our support network can talk and communicate. They just talk and communicate in a different way. And there have been numerous times where I have been in distress, where my dogs have literally just kind of piled on top of me and laid on me, but I still felt my distress. I just felt like a weighted blanket of love while I was feeling the distress.
You felt support. Crazy.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that wild how that works?
Listen, I'm also going to argue with you that my Rottweiler fucking talks. She's a mouthy little shit.
Oh, no, 100.
She
Yeah.
got all the things to say.
No, that's fair. Mine do too. Um, I wish that I had a translator so I could actually hear, but then I'm like, oh, do I really want to know?
No, I just imagine she's over there like, fuck you. Why can't I have my way? What do you mean I can't do that? This is some bullshit.
I know. I
Why
want to
aren't you
buy
listening to me?
I want to buy them like the hexagon buttons that they have so that they
Okay,
can be
listen,
like,
I can seriously thought about doing this because she's already mouthy and she learned how to open the gate and do all the things and she's not dumb. Um, but then I was like, can I just imagine what button she's hitting?
I
Hey,
know.
hey, hey, hey,
I know.
hey,
I
hey,
know. Mom, mom,
pay attention
mom,
to me.
mommy. Mommy, mommy,
Right,
mom,
right.
mom.
She'll be over there. She'll just sit on the food button or something, even though she has a pile of food.
I
She'll
know.
just sit on the toy button because somehow my other dog took the toy, and God forbid someone else play with the toy.
Oh Lord, Lanigan would just be like mom. His button would just constantly be mom because he has separation anxiety. It's
That's
bless
what I'm
him.
saying. Like I was considered it, and then I was like, oh God, this conversation would be horrible.
I'm Rob told me earlier when I told him what the topic was, he was like, "You are his emotional support human." And I was like, "That's fair."
Um, so while we're discussing this, I literally said to my cat, um, when we got this cat, he was a kitten, he was a barn cat, and he was super antisocial, would hide from everybody but me. And as he's aged, he's like 7 now, 7, 8, some nonsense like that. Um, he has gotten more friendly with everybody in the family. Like the kids were the last ones, but he snuggles in their beds now and hangs out with them. Um, my husband was only okay to pet him if I was sitting next to him.
Mm.
He was like a safe person by proxy. But if I got up, don't touch him. He was gone.
Yep.
Um, so,
Yep.
but then we got a gray cat, um, who is even more antisocial than this guy was. And so I told my cat this morning or this afternoon, I was like, oh God. I was like, you could not be an emotional support animal. you have too much anxiety. But I got you an emotional support cat, and he has worse than you. So I don't know what to do now.
And we're all emotionally supporting each other in a circle. It's
uh, I'm like, it's funny.
we're
But
enmeshed.
I was like, it's funny. He's my cat's just looking at me like I'm not amused with you, lady. But yeah, I just I have a gray cat that I hardly see. And again, I'm the only person who they will let pet him.
You know, the funniest emotional support animal story that I have is I went out to dinner one night late when I was living in Kingsport, Tennessee. Shout out to Kingsport. And I was going into McAdoo's, this restaurant chain down there. And I walked in and this girl had an emotional support gigantic bunny. A stark black, beautiful animal. And she was just holding it. And I was just like, okay, all right, I'm here for this. I'm here
I,
for it.
I can't be mad about it.
No. And they, while it goes against technically what emotional support animals are allowed to do, McAdoo's was fine with it. They were like, bring your emotional support rabbit into the facility and hold it. That's cool. We're fine with it. So,
Give it some lettuce, call it a day.
congrats, McAdoo's.
Right.
But it was the cutest thing. And she seemed to be very calm and very, like chill. And I was, of course, fangirling over this huge rabbit.
Yeah, that's my problem. Mm. I'm like, oh, look at the animal.
I
Look
know.
at it.
It
I
was
don't know
such a
what it
goth
doesn't
rabbit
know.
too. It was
Oh
so
my
black.
God.
It was
That's
like
so
pitch
cool.
black.
But you bring up a good point about what ESAs are allowed. Um, you they're not allowed generally not permitted in public.
No.
Usually not like restaurants, so non-residential spaces are generally off. So most places like you can't bring it into the grocery store, you can't bring it into a restaurant. And you used to be able to bring them on flights. However, the Department of Transportation has changed the ruling and
Mhm.
they are no longer recognized. So you cannot bring them on a plane as an emotional support animal. You can still stow them,
Yes.
um, but they cannot ride with you, hang out with you, sit in the seat next to you, which is really a shame.
It it really is actually because I think that uh, I don't know. I think as we delve deeper into this, and we talk about requirements and things like that, um, I feel like if we had, if we loosen up a little bit on the emotional support animal rules, it would help a lot of people, um, especially in environments like that. And I understand that there are reasons for that. So as long as, the vaccinations, certain trainings, things like that, where they're not going to be like, you know, I'm gonna, eat everybody on this plane, with my rabies or whatever. You know,
I just want you to know you said eat everybody on the plane with my rabies. That's fantastic.
but, just covering all
Ah,
bases.
all the
Um,
bases, all of them.
as opposed to the service animals who are just like elitist and they have the little monocle and they're like, we won't ever get rabies. Um,
They are, my feet barely touch the grass.
I know, right? Um, it would
Uh,
help, like if I could bring my any of my dogs with me wherever I go. Honestly, as someone who struggles with PTSD primarily, if I could bring my dogs with me anywhere I go, I would go a lot more places.
yeah,
Truly.
yeah, no, I get it. Um, which I think is important, right? Like I don't. I generally want to know why we don't have planes that just are for people and their dogs or their cats.
That's a great question.
Like, I mean, I understand right now, you know, we are short TSA agents and the partial government shutdown and TSA is not getting paid and, all the great, wonderful things that are occurring. Um, but so 3 hour lines at the airport probably, they're not going to spare resources for animal and
X-ray.
planes. But I'm just my thoughts here of like, why is that not a thing? Because I'd pay money to ride in a plane where it was me and my dogs if I had to travel somewhere.
Well,
I don't want them stowed.
I don't either. And this might be a hot take, but I was reading the news yesterday, and Southwest is under fire for a policy about purchasing two seats based upon size. And so, I mean, I would not be opposed to purchasing a second seat for my emotional
I would.
support animal.
Mine aren't even emotional support. If I had to go somewhere and I'm not like boarding my dogs and I
Yeah,
could just put them on, like, yeah, okay,
I'd buy
here's
it.
your, like, I feel like they're missing out on some things here. Do you know how many
Yeah.
people would travel, like, would sit their dog or their cat next to them in the seat?
Oh, 100%. I'd buckle them up. We'd,
I
put
mean,
like
there are special
little
buckles
things.
that go over the fucking headrest anyways for
Mhm.
harnesses. Just do that.
Put little muffs
Yeah,
on their ears for the pressure.
exactly. Pocket full of treats.
A little bit of sedation if needed. Like
Right. I'm
we're
just saying you could,
cruising.
get some, veterinary approved Xanax for your cat, knock them out
Yeah.
for takeoff and whatever, you
Special
know,
day.
it'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. This is an idea. And I don't own enough money to make that a reality as a business venture. So someone should. Yes, I don't own enough money.
Ooh. Hey, anybody out there with extra seed money that wants to go into that with Arlene and I? Here you go.
Oh my God, I don't own enough money for that.
We're looking for seed money here. Just kidding.
Uh, but also this is I'm just saying this is a thing. People would pay to have their animal ride with them and
Yes,
not
they
below
would.
them.
They would. Because people are very scared. I've actually had therapy sessions with people who have moved from country to country who have brought along their pets and myself considering moving to a different country, thinking about stowing my animals in the cargo. It makes me nervous. It makes me
Did you know
uncomfortable.
hold on, there is there is a thing. I forget the name of it because I looked it up when I too decided making plans about maybe leaving the country. Um, I needed to know how I was getting my pet somewhere. Um, um, there is this, it's called pet cargo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they even do international.
Yeah.
They take, like, they pick up your pet, they safely transport them to their destination. They do the thing.
Okay.
Vet checks to arrival, like they've been in business for 20 years.
It's good to know
I know, right?
because they
I
are
mean, there's
precious
some
people.
other companies as well, um, that do that, but most of those are um domestic. There's an international pet travel as well. Um, those kind of things. So there are companies that do this for exactly the reasons we're discussing. If I'm on a 5 hour flight, I don't want my dogs kenneled down in a cargo for 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather they be kenneled maybe on a boat or something. I just feel safer. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, but yeah, I was saying there should be another way. Um, yeah. So if I'd take a boat with my dogs if that was the option.
I would too. I've thought about that. Like, can you cruise with your dogs?
Like a cruise? I don't think so.
But like, if we're moving, like, people used to move all the time on boats because planes didn't exist,
Exist.
obviously.
Well, I'm
Um,
assuming if we did like something like we chartered something like that, probably.
do they even have those things anymore?
I mean, why wouldn't they?
That's a good question. Immediately goes to Google. Give me a second.
Listen, look, I Googled it, but we will not chat GPT it. We don't chat GPT things. Find a different AI to use. There's only like 90 billion different AIs. You don't
I
need to
know,
use
right?
chat GPT.
Hmm.
Did you find a vote?
I think I searched the wrong thing because it's talking about people who live on boats.
We don't need a houseboat.
I know, right?
We don't need a houseboat. Just everybody know this. No houseboats. All right. This is important stuff here. First, here's how you travel across the country with your dog or across the pond. I just decided to call it the pond too. I am not English. I'm just going to call it the pond too.
Fair enough.
I feel like if the UK, then them can call it a pond, so can I, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's,
I feel like
it
I can
works.
too. Whatever. It's just a small pond. It's not really large at all, which is why I've always loved that they've called it that. I feel like you're having a hard time with this.
I am having a hard time with this because I don't know exactly how to search for it. Moving to another country via cruise ship. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig into this at some point. Um,
Can you move to
'Cause
another country by boat?
that's what I typed in, and that's when it was like, you know,
Yes, you can, but it requires strict adherence to international laws, customs, immigration, blah, 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 all the normal things. You cannot simply land anywhere. You must sail directly to a designated port of entry to clear customs, often using a Q flag.
so does it matter
Options
what boat?
options range from sailing your own vessel
Okay.
to using cargo ships for transport.
Hmm. Everything you need to know to sail to another country.
There we go. There's literally, it's called cruise critic community, moving to another country via cruise ship, but
Mm,
you can't ship them on the same. You could ride there, but you can't take your belongings.
gotcha.
Cool. There you go. There you go. Take a boat. If you know how to sail, you could sail yourself.
Yeah.
I was about to be funny and be like, you could Christopher Columbus it and take out
Oh.
a whole nother group of people with your diseases.
Oh Lord, because that's what's happening on the plains. The polio is now spreading because of that, by the way.
Okay. All right. Service animals.
Yes.
What's a service animal?
A service animal is a trained animal that has licensure can go with you in public spaces, um, can only be dogs or horses.
Yes, in some cases, usually miniature horses,
Hmm.
and there's special permission from the ADA to
Hmm.
be miniature horses. And I'm telling you what, right now, having a horse as a service animal sounds like the best shit I've ever heard of.
Could you imagine rolling up with like a miniature horse in a restaurant? Just
I'm
saying.
sorry, I'm picturing this in the grocery store.
It's just like cloppity coconuts are like Monty Python with the coconuts, like
Yeah,
clop,
it's
clop,
fucking
clop.
amazing. I just find that amazing that is awesome. Miniature
Hmm.
horses can be service animal.
Yep.
They are generally trained for a specific task,
Yep.
to be able to do specific things. Great examples are there are specific dogs that are trained for PTSD.
Hmm.
There are specific dogs that are trained on how to help someone who um, cannot see or hear well to navigate the public spaces, and how to do that. There
Hmm.
are training specifics for like um, other physical disabilities or mental disabilities, and you'll often see videos of like dogs being able to identify when someone might be having a heart attack or a seizure or like things like that. They're trained for that.
Yes.
They're trained on how to do that. So it's also like a mental health, like mental disability or a sensory disability. So like I said, not being blind or deaf, fall under those as well. Um, but really just recognizing their extensive training for that. Those they're taken as puppies. Their temperaments are checked to be able to be fit for this. Um, and then they're gone through rigorous training to be able to do this job because it is a job.
Hmm.
Um, and that's important distinction between like an ESA and a service animal,
Very much so.
right? The ADA considers service animals working animals, not pets. And that is why they get access to everywhere because they're working. They're not your pet.
Yes.
They are something that helps you, right? They provide a service to help you navigate whatever the disability is or discomfort is. And that's super important. Um, and
It
again,
really is. Yeah,
yeah,
because there's an etiquette that comes with that.
correct. Um, Remember, they're not pets. They're not emotional support or comfort pets. They work, they do their job, which is
Hmm.
why when you're out in public and you see a dog that has all of their gear on as a working dog, they always have signs that says do not pet, do not pet, do not approach, because they're working. They're not there to be loved on in that way.
Hmm.
Now, that's not to say these animals don't get love or get treated that way, but when they're working, they're working.
Yes.
So please, that's a giant difference. Um, some people, I know that asking someone with a service animal if you can pet their dog um, is okay, but generally the answer is no, they're working, right?
Hmm.
Because they're there to do a job. They are allowed everywhere, again, with their handler. And that's how they're referred to is their handler, not their
Hmm.
owner. That is also different. Again, we're back to it's a job,
Hmm.
right? Um, they have to be harnessed, leashed, or tethered unless it interferes with their job. So, like in public, you can't just have your dog, like the dog loose leash walking, unless it interferes with what they do.
Yes.
Otherwise, they have to be leased and harnessed and all of that stuff um, as normal.
A
So,
good way to kind of think about it is canine police officers, the
Yeah.
canine officers, they're working dogs. They get love all the time. Their handlers love them to death. But when they're on the job, they're on the job and they're trained to do specific things. And this is the same
Mhm.
thing with service animals, different tasks, but it's the similar thing. They have been trained for a specific or specific, multiple tasks or a task.
Yeah. You're right, because I was gonna say the canine unit dogs or the military dogs,
Hmm.
again, all trained for tasks, but their handlers love them, take care of them. It's why they're partnered with them, those kind of things. So just recognizing, again, extensive training. Um, it's extensive enough that you can fail as a puppy canine training school for being too cute and adorable and nice. And
Oh,
did you know that if they dogs fail this, they're then up for adoption?
yes.
So it's an FYI, you can fail being a canine dog for just being too cute and lovey.
I can see that. You're just so like, it's like being a dog extrovert,
Right.
like,
Listen, they're like, listen, we need you to be chill and look mean and look tough. And the dog just smiles like, okay. And it gives you a big old kiss.
I
I'm
know,
like,
right?
not you. Not you.
We need you to focus.
No, no, I don't
And the
want to.
dog's
Can I dig a hole?
ADHD. I know, right? ADHD, like, oh, no, wait, what?
Yeah. So I think it's so funny that I was like, oh, you can fail that.
That's so cute.
That's so adorable. The dog is like, sorry, you're just too nice for this. We only need the dogs that looks mean and scary. That doesn't mean they are, but we
No,
need the ones that look mean and scary, and you don't cut it.
you are not stoic enough, sir, or madam, or they.
You do not carry resting bitch face and dog.
No.
Sorry, you
Mm-mm.
must go.
Yes.
Uh, so funny. Um, but we did say this is important, because you can take your dog as a service animal or horse into anywhere. There are laws around what can and cannot be asked,
Mm-hmm.
of someone with a service animal.
Yes.
Businesses are allowed to ask, is the dog a service animal required because of a disability? Is what work or task has the dog been trained to perform? And those are the only two questions that businesses are legally allowed to ask.
The first one seems like a
What's
gimme.
ser- uh, I know. I feel like that one's a little bit nosy. But well, why else would the dog be here?
Right.
Um, but what task has the dog been trained to perform? They can ask that one. What they are not allowed to ask, and this is also important,
Yes.
about the person's disability, require any medical documentation, HIPAA,
Mm-hmm.
or ask for identification from the dog, because all service animals come with papers and all of their extensive medical history. But they can't ask for any of that. Even the dog gets HIPAA
Oh.
because generally in the paperwork, it says why the person has this dog and what the dog has been trained for specifically
Right.
medically. So again, the dog gets HIPAA. So they can't ask about any of that because again, that's protected information.
They can, however, ask that for emotional support animals.
Mhm. Correct. Because again, they're not legally protected by the ADA.
No.
And for those of you who don't know what that is the American with Disabilities Act. Though I hope we all know what that is. But it's the ADA that legally covers them, as accommodations for people with disabilities. So now, service animals are expensive. Remember? Extensive training. You're paying for that training.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's why you'll see organizations for wounded veterans
Yes.
do a lot of fundraising and things to be able to get disabled veteran service animals because they're expensive as shit.
Yes.
But they are super valuable.
Oh, they are worth their weight in gold, especially for veterans um or anybody really, but my experience with them has been with veterans and being able to help them come out of flashbacks or panic attacks, you know, kind of mitigate the experience of you know, a major symptom attack of PTSD.
Yeah,
They are worth their weight in gold because
for sure.
they something about for a lot of people. I'm thinking of a particular person who just loathes dogs. Um, but for a lot of people, they release oxytocin, they release dopamine, they release these calming hormones and neurotransmitters that help us just feel safe. And that's what they're trained to do,
Mhm,
to let us know, hey, we need a break.
for sure. There are a bunch of nonprofits that train service dogs specifically for military veterans.
Mhm.
It's America's Vet Dogs. They do for PTSD, hearing, seizures, guide to work, first responders, and active duty members for veterans as well. They do this for at no cost. So again, it's a nonprofit. Keep that in mind. Canine Companions has a program dedicated to veterans with PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
PAVE, which is Pause Assisting Veterans, has service dogs for PTSD and like providing deep pressure therapy, which is huge for people with PTSD with a dog. There's Canine Partners for Patriots. It's a 6-month program where veterans train their own rescue dogs. And then there's Blue Star Service Dogs based here in Michigan. They provide service dogs for veterans with PTSD. So, understand um, the dogs must be credentialed by Assistant Dogs International or the International Guide Dog Federation. And that is how they are qualifying. And the VA sometimes provides health insurance for service dogs. Well, they provide health insurance benefits for service dogs for veterans for visual hearing and substantial mobility impairments. But everyone who might be a veteran or knows a veteran and has had some experience with the VA might know that's a process.
Mm. Yeah.
So, but again, these are all nonprofits, so they all do this in a way that they need the money to be able to do this. So, but I think that's important to know that these organizations exist and they're there. And so if you want to help support this, there you go. So there's lots of different ways you can help give to support in this cause because they're expensive. So, but yeah, those are good ones. Um, Generally, I think one of the things is okay, so this is also important. There are a lot of places that have dog policies, like you can just bring your dog. Michael's is
Mm-hmm.
one of them, Lowe's, Home Depot. Um, they don't care. It doesn't have to be a service dog. You can bring your dog.
Yeah.
Okay. So the difference between bringing my dog into Michael's and someone bringing in the service dog is my dog doesn't have all of the gear, doesn't have something that says working dog or service dog, right?
Yes, that's a good point.
Um, and being able to recognize that that is a big difference. I can just take my dog into Lowe's and she enjoys it. It's a great time. Um, but then someone else with a service dog, they're going to have all the identifiers of like
Hmm.
a harness or a vest that says working or don't pet me,
Hmm.
something of those natures to signify in public.
Yes.
This dog is on the clock, yo.
Yeah. I remember my graduate assistantship. I was working in disability services, and we had a service dog that regularly came in and hung out when his handler came in. And, while we were working with his handler, we couldn't love on him. But when his handler was just kind of hanging out at the computers, we got to love all over him, and it was great. But he had his gear. He had his little vest and, all of the stuff that he needed. If he needed to carry some stuff, he had little pockets. And I mean, he was the best of boys. He passed away from cancer, but he was the best of boys.
Oh,
I know. And he was such a good boy. But you could tell, when he was working, and you can tell when he wasn't, because when he was off the clock, when his handler was, chilling on the computer and he knew that he was safe, he would just kind of crash at like one of our desks or what have you, until his handler needed him.
mhm.
And, we would keep an eye on him for him because his handler was blind. And it was just, we knew the boundaries. We established the boundaries early on, but we knew that when he was working, he was working.
Right. Look, I know that for us when we're working, we generally want someone to interrupt us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. For a dog
God, please.
who's working, it's it's detrimental to the process and what they're doing to interrupt them.
Yes.
And that is what I think is important to know, right? You might want to be interrupted when you're working. I promise the dog doesn't. It needs to do its job.
Well, exactly, because that's for a dog, that's its purpose. Its purpose is the job, the task at hand, and especially for dogs that are considered working dogs, the class of working dogs. And we really need to respect that. But I think, and I just want to put this out there, just as a general kind of etiquette, anytime you see a dog out in public, it's always a really good idea to ask before you pet.
Yes. For example, I have two puppies who are almost a year now. They're like 9 months old now. One of them is not a consent dog.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is she will love you. You come near her, she will pet you, she will lick you, she will attempt to jump on you, even though she knows she's not supposed to. Um, but she has zero problem if you just walk up and pet her.
Hmm.
My other dog, however, is a consent dog.
Hmm.
If you just walk up to her and try to reach for her, she's going to back away. She's going to get mouthy because I've already told you she's mouthy. Um, and if you continue to press it, she'll nip the air in front of you.
Yeah.
She's setting a hard boundary, right? It is because she doesn't know you and you are terrifying to her.
Hmm.
Now, it's funny because she's a Rottweiler, German Shepherd mix, but anybody who's had a Rottweiler knows they're just giant fucking babies, despite what the the world says about them. But
Yeah,
she
that's true.
also doesn't want to touch you until she feels comfortable with you. So approaching her and not doing the things that you need to do, like it just isn't going to work out for you or for the dog. You're not going to pet her. You might get upset and scared, and she's going to be terrified because she doesn't know you.
Mm-hmm.
And for the dog, that looks like aggression when she's barking or biting the air in front of you. When really she's just scared. She doesn't know you. Where
Mm-hmm.
my Labrador Retriever, she could give two shits left who you are. She would just like to love you. And that's a personality thing. So I have a dog who needs consent and a dog that doesn't care. And this is why you should ask, because you don't know these dogs.
Yes. And I think that's a lesson that we can learn from service animals is that, you don't approach animals that you don't know without talking to their handlers or their, pet parents first. Hey, like that the TikTok, can I pet that dog?
Right. I think the one thing that I think that frustrates me around this petting random dogs is the so being told no and the response is, but I'm great with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt you. I don't doubt that. But my dog doesn't know you,
Yes.
right?
You
And
know,
so she's gonna like try to climb into my lap to avoid you. And that is right, like animals also need consent.
they do.
Okay. Like I joke a lot that cats will teach you about consent and dogs teach you about unconditional love. But also dogs deserve consent too, right? Like if you don't know the dog, don't walk up on it and just assume you can pet it just because it looks friendly or it's adorable. That's for like any dog, but yeah, service dogs specifically.
My my strummer, Rip, um, he saved me. He saved my life from my ex-husband, um, a few times. But he was very protective and center focused on me. So whenever we would go out, he was adorable. He was beautiful. If we had a YouTube, you could see a picture. Peer pressure. Um,
Peer pressure.
but like he was not focused on anybody but me because he was always in his mind, I think, working. And his job was to protect me. Even though he wasn't trained that way, he was taught to be that way. And so he was not a dog that I would recommend people approach. And people would come up to me and be like, "Can I pet your dog?" And I would be like, "No, not that one. The others, yes, but not that one." Because he just was very focally pointed on me and protecting me. And that was his thing. And one thing, service animals, animals in general, emotional support animals that I think that we all really need to take away from this is that they have their own code of being and they show us with their behavior. They they show us with how they respond to things and we need to listen. And we need to respect and not run up to animals that we don't know in public, whether they're wearing, specific vests or not, because it could scare them.
Look, and we're talking about dogs. And so if a dog is scared, they don't have the words to say, holy fuck, you just scared me.
I know, and then bite you with your rabies.
Exactly. What they're going to do is turn around, bark at you, growl at you,
Hmm.
and maybe bite at you
Yes.
because they're trying to tell you, I'm terrified that could
Yes.
bluff me. And because they don't have the words to say, fuck you, walk off, that's them
Mhm.
saying it.
Exactly. Walk on, boy.
If you take one more step, I will bite you.
Mhm.
I'm sure things some of us have said, one more step, and I'm gonna bite you.
Have actually said that. Um, I am
So
not
I'm
lying.
just saying, I mean, it's not like dogs are the only ones who are like, I swear to God, if you come closer to me, I will bite you. So just know that. That's what they're saying. Working dogs, service dogs, are not going to respond that way though,
No.
right? They're chosen for their temperament to begin with,
Yes.
right? But also they're working. So you are not their task. Back to your point, Kelly. Like you're just a random person that they're keeping an eye on because
Hmm.
they're out working.
Yes. Like the task is the person that they are trained to watch and
Right.
to be around, whether it is through happenstance or actual training. That's their task. They're on the job. And they really don't need to be interrupted. And you know, I'm bad for it. Don't get me wrong. I love animals in general, but I love dogs and I love foxes, and I'm like, I want to pet the dog. But I always ask before I run up and pet someone else's dog because I don't know them and I don't know what they may be trained to do, or if maybe they're on a job that I don't even know about.
Right. Also, maybe they just don't like people.
I mean, I don't like people.
Listen, they always tell you dogs take on the temperament of their owners,
Oh no.
which might explain my fucking Rottweiler.
Oh my God, my dogs too. Oh
She's a
God.
mouthy little shit who at the core of it is just a giant baby
Oh my Lord,
who pouts when she doesn't get her way.
My pit bull is so smart, but he's so dumb. Well, all of mine are so smart, but they're so dumb. And then I'm like, okay, what's that say about me? Oh.
Uh, uh, well, 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 okay then.
Like, I will
Uh,
walk into a wall and be like, where did that come from? But I can
Kelly just
still, like,
discovered new tech.
argue like a huge point with you, but I can't walk in a straight line like my dogs. Like, they can't either. I got one dog
Well,
who can't even poop in grass. He has to poop on the patio. Like, what's going on here?
you see, we've discovered some things today accidentally.
Oh, life. I may be dead tomorrow from a tornado, so you're welcome.
Hey, listen, after the tornado hits you, it's heading my way, and apparently the rain has already started. So, it's just gonna flood here.
Same here.
So
So,
it's fine, it's fine. We just have a
same.
flood warning, and on Sunday it's supposed to fucking snow.
Yeah, here too. Say la vie. Bye.
Woo! Yay, Midwest! Woo! Where you get a pretend spring, and then winter reminds you you're still its bitch.
Oh. Oh, I miss Appalachia, but it's not much different down there either.
Oh, but no, I think this is important. Look, emotional support dogs are great, or cats, or you know, a gecko, or a python,
Yeah.
whatever your thing is.
Do you?
Emotional support. I was gonna say spiders, but listen, I will not write a letter for that. Don't ask me. It's a spider. I'm probably gonna look at you and be like, no,
You
I don't
you
care
would
that
have
it's a
to.
tr I don't care it's a tarantula. I don't care that I just can't do it. I can't do it. Why? Because I don't know. I just thought of it and realized I will never be able to write that letter in my soul. I could write it
Oh,
for a snake. I could
that's
write it for a
hilarious.
Komodo dragon.
That's hilarious.
A tarantula, I think I've just found my line.
For all of those who need letters for tarantulas, come my
I
way.
am not the one.
I
I
am your
am
one.
not the one. You need it for a parrot and a parakeet, and a cockatoo. I got you.
Axolotls, I'm your one too because I love them.
So I'm just saying. Um, I think just being able to know that you can have a pet around you that provides you support in any way is really good for overall mental health.
I agree.
Um, so
And I appreciate that it navigates the no pet clause with landlords too, because I think that
and dorm rooms.
yes, especially in dorm rooms, because we're talking, if you mention dorm rooms, we're talking about a cohort of people who, in regard to suicidality, go ignored
Mhm.
frequently, and if they had ESAs, might not be
Yeah. So I've
there.
written a few for dorm rooms, which is why I know this. And usually the university has its own paperwork to fill out.
Hmm.
So it's not just a letter from your provider, it's generally paperwork because they have to have it on file.
Hmm.
But ESAs, as long as they're legitimate ESAs and not just you paid $12 for a letter off the internet,
Yes.
but are allowed in dorm rooms and housing, even where there's a no pet rule
As an aside, you and I worked at together at a place
at a
once.
place. At a
Yes,
place.
at a place.
At
And
a
I
place. We worked at an
we
unknown location
we worked together. And I
at
did
a destination that shall never be described.
the Vada Kedavra. Um, but I did write some ESA letters that may or may not have been.
Hey, psst, so did I.
Cheers, mate.
Because I was like, yeah, okay.
You know,
What, you're
and
going off to college and you need to take your cat
yeah.
who is there for you all the time? Yes, please.
And the irony here, and the reason I mentioned that is because we were not allowed to.
Broke the rules.
It was discouraged.
So, on that fun, exciting note, anything else we need to add?
No, I think we've covered the gamut of it actually.
All right. So, I will end with this. Top service dog breeds. The gold standard. Would you want to take a guess?
Golden Retrievers,
Nope.
German Shepherds.
Labrador retrievers.
Ah, okay.
The next one is a golden retriever, right?
Are my
Um,
Pibbles in there anywhere?
okay, so then would be a standard poodle, not a motherfucking toy poodle,
Really?
but that is because they're hypoallergenic and intelligent. So
Okay.
think of the
Okay.
hypoallergenic thing. Then we got our German shepherds
Uh-huh.
and a boxer.
Oh,
They're psychiatric services usually because they
okay.
attune to your moods well.
Okay. What about Pibbles?
Nope. Burmese mountain dogs, though,
They're, oh, yeah.
usually for mobility issues, and some emotional support there. But this one I find amazing. Great Dane.
Oh, no, they're so sweet.
They are amazing. They're giant. But they're good for mobility sport and bracing because they're fucking huge.
Yes. So
So
if
they're like
you're,
good for support, in literal support.
yeah, if you're having a seizure, that would be a great dog to have on your
Yeah.
side.
So also I dog sit a Great Dane Mastiff mix a couple times a week for a friend. And
Oh.
he's the giantest fucking baby on the planet. Giant, meaty little bastard. But he's adorable. So they're great dogs.
Awesome. Okay. I did not know
So
that.
those are your top service dog breeds. That doesn't mean others cannot be that, but these are your tops. Just like for canines, it's obviously the German Shepherd. But do you know what dog it used to be?
What?
Rottweilers.
And the irony here is that a chunk of these dogs are the dogs that used to be like so feared.
Well, it's why it's why people aren't necessarily fans of German Shepherds or Rottweilers, is because they were put in positions to look aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've ever had a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler,
Mm-hmm.
they're loyal.
I'm waiting for pit bulls to make
Come
that
around,
list.
pit bulls should come around now. We should stop being some kind of way about pits. They're just giant fucking babies too.
Oh, they're
Giant
land
fucking babies.
they're land hippos. And I'm
Giant
waiting
fucking
for
babies.
them to make that list. And the only reason I could see that they don't is because they're more neurotic than perhaps
Well, I
anybody
mean,
else.
Rottweilers have fucking ADHD.
Ah,
I mean, like that was part of the issue, is that they're super focused until they're not.
hmm.
And then they're like, "Ooh, what's that?" They're
And
great.
for everybody out there who thinks that animals don't have personality or mental health issues, no, a hard disagree.
You clearly haven't spent enough time around animals.
Right?
Because each one of my dogs has a different personality, just like each one of my cats. I have 4 of each.
Yeah.
So distinct different animals. But so on that note, I just thought that would be important and good, cool information to have. So, but I appreciate you hanging out again, Kelly.
Always.
Perfect. Um, Next episode after this, or next week episode, is going to be an interview that I did with the CEO of Friendly. So it's a new app about how to make friends. And it really is
Ooh,
just friends, just guys, friends, not
not hookups.
romantic dating, blah, blah, blah.
Don't
So
turn it
we
into
talked
that.
to him about why he created the app and the app itself. So that'll be next week. So guys enjoy that as well. But per usual, I enjoy you guys hanging out. Give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, comments, tell me what your favorite dog is, or cat, or hippopotamus, um, whatever your favorite animal is. And if I get a bunch of people saying tarantulas, I'm coming for all of you.
Just
Um,
just
but
come to
just know
me.
that.
It's fine.
Just know that. Um, but also, um, again, we just really appreciate you guys hanging out, and hope you enjoyed the information. Thanks for listening to another episode of Unwinding with Support Group. Follow us on Substack. Give us a like, a follow. Give us a comment. Tell us what you hated, what you like, what you want us to talk about next. Let everybody know where they can find us too. But thanks for hanging out with us once again.